Hello and welcome to today's special event, a conversation with Billie Jean King and Liz Robbins. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a section for Q&A. If you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. You may submit your questions in the chat box, and we hope to answer a few of them at the end of the program. Booklist offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable them on your screen, please look for and click the Show Captions icon on the toolbar mentioned earlier. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of them at any time by selecting Caption Settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates this standard of behavior, including engaging in any form of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. We have a wonderful event today, so without further ado, we'd like to welcome Liz Robbins, co-author of See It to Be It, 11 Champions Leading Women's Sports Today, who will be leading today's conversation with Billie Jean King. Take it away, Liz.
Thanks so much, Grace. I really appreciate it. Well, welcome, book lovers and sports fans. My name is Liz Robbins, and I'm a longtime journalist who spent 19 years reporting sports and local news at the New York Times. I'm honored to be here with the GOAT of women's sports, Billie Jean King, to talk about our upcoming young adult book, See It to Be It. 11 Champions Leading Women's Sports Today, to be published by Calkins Creek, Astra Books for young readers on August 11th. Hello, Billie Jean. Hopefully we can all hear her. We'll get her on in a second. You all know this icon of equality, but let me give you a few more facts. Billie Jean won 39 Grand Slam titles and finished the year as world number one 6 times. She founded the Women's Tennis Association as well as the Women's Sports Foundation and was the first female athlete to receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom and the first individual woman to win the gold medal, the Congressional Gold Medal. So Billie Jean is part of the ownership groups of the Los Angeles Dodgers and Angel City FC, and she's on the advisory board of the Professional Women's Hockey League. She grew up in Long Beach, California, where in 2019, the city council named their new library the Billie Jean King Main Library. Her last book, a memoir entitled All In, made the New York Times bestseller list, which is where we hope this one will go. See It to Be It. In each chapter, we profile the journey of a different athlete with exclusive interviews of the champions and photos of their early years. They aren't just superstars in their field like Billie Jean, they are advocates for the future, a future where there is joy, acceptance, learning, and winning. So even if you don't play sports, these incredible humans and their stories will inspire you like they did for us. Once again, I want to welcome everyone to this conversation. After, we will have a brief time for Q&A. So, Billie Jean, welcome to the screen. Can we get Billie on here? All good? Just double checking to make sure. Just turn on the camera and we'll be good. All right, we're getting it here. So I'm
Tell me if it's not working. We'll try to go to
No,
something
we're
else.
good. We're good.
Excellent.
All right. Welcome, Billie Jean, to this
Thanks, Liz.
incredible conversation. And I can't wait to get started. So let's dive in. This is a moment for women's sports. Women's sports are more popular than ever, with girls' participation just skyrocketing and successful pro leagues. So I have to ask, why now and why write a YA book now? And just
Why
tell
now?
us how this all began.
Well, the main reason is, well, there's two reasons, but the main reason is because the Title IX was passed June 23rd, 1972. And it's only 37 words. If you look at them, you won't see the word sports in it. You won't see really what it's about. It was about classroom quotas. Uh, Before 1972, for instance, if you wanted to go to Harvard Medical School and get your medical degree, they only allowed 5% of the women in the class. 5% went to women. And then also, if you look, women had no athletic scholarships whatsoever. But in the law, it says activity. And they couldn't decide whether to leave that in or leave it out, the co-authors. Senator Birch Bayh was one of my friends, and he used to tell me we didn't know whether to leave that in or take it out. But because they left the activity word in is the reason we have women sports having athletic scholarships to college. Before that, we never did. I'm pre-Title IX, so I was working two jobs. The guys down the street, like Arthur Ashe, Dan Smith, they had full scholarships either at CU or UCLA. I went to Cal State LA and got to hit with the men's tennis team. So what happened is after Title IX, you see all the women in colleges, and there's not just U.S. women, it's women from all over the world that have come in to get athletic scholarships. So that is the reason we have the athletes in the 1996 Olympics was the year of the women, they called it, because so many teams in the U.S. won gold medals. And that's when we knew Title IX had arrived, that all these years of better coaching, having uniforms, having the proper field or court to play on, all these things added up. So we finally had that. So what's happened is because people see opportunity there, there's now investment. It used to be if they did something for women, it was considered a charity. And now it's considered a true investment. You look at women's professional tennis, we started in 1970. We're one of the oldest. The LPGA was 1950 when it started, but now they're starting to do a lot better, getting bigger prize money on the Pro Tour. So all these things evolved for us. The WNBA is now, what is it, about 30 years old, and then
30 years
men
this
though are
year.
70. But the NBA is 70. So we're just beginning. We're at the beginning stages if you compare us to where the men are. And it's because we have billionaires now instead of just millionaires that can invest in us as well.
I love this history. So why is it the right time for a young adult book? What can they read in this? Having some audio problems. We'll get her back in a second. Thank you, everybody. Yep, she's coming right on. I am a product of Title IX, and I was a high school athlete. So I am just thrilled that we are able to have these 11 athletes. And for those of you who are on, I know Billie Jean will be talking about it, but we have household names like Caitlin Clark, Kendall Coyne Schofield, Diana Flores, Midge Purse, Asia O'Neill, Kelsey Whitmore. You may have heard her. She is the #1 pick in the Women's Professional Baseball League that's starting in August. She's also playing for the Savannah Bananas. Amit Aylor, a wrestler, and she won a gold medal at age 20. Mackenzie Cohn, a Paralympic swimmer. Nikki Hiltz, a track star. And we are back with the star, with the GOAT. So Billie, we were talking about why a YA book. Why is that so important right now?
Why is one so important? All these.
Why is having a young adult book like
this book? Here's my
crucial?
little book right here. This is why it's important, and I've lived this, so I know that if you can see the best players and be exposed to them, then you start to dream your own dream. And that's what happened with me and happens with so many young people. And older people like them because they think about their children, their grandchildren, and all those things. But when you listen to each and every story, they're slightly different, of course, because it's different sports, different families, different cultures, which I think is very important that we got, that it's helps a child or a young adult or anybody really to see somebody like when I saw Althea Gibson, for the first time in person, it was like, oh my God, she's so good. And she's the best. So I have to be at least as good as her because I want to be number one in the world. From the time I started playing. So I'm like, oh, she's so great. I'll never be that good. But then my parents always taught my brother and me. And by the way, my younger brother played 12 years of professional baseball. Randy Moffett. Moffett is our birth name. And he just passed last year. But he announced at 10 he wanted to be a professional baseball player. But he had been able to see players. When I watched baseball, there were no girls. So that broke my heart. The point is, tennis was wonderful. It was a global sport, and Althea showed me how great. But my parents always told Randy and me, every generation gets better. And I'm like, oh, I can never be better than that. And then I went, well, let's see. So anyway, because I got to see Althea Gibson, and as you read these stories, the kids and people and the young people can see, they can see it. And that's what you want. You want to see it to be it. Because it just, your imagination just starts going when you see them or listen to them and listen to their stories because they're going to be a lot like their own, maybe not. But it's because of the different cultures, different colors of these women, it helps a lot of different young adults and children and whoever's reading it to be inspired, to think about it. Maybe I should try this. And one thing's they've done all kinds of research. The Women's Sports Foundation has done so much research on getting girls into sports, and they end up being better leaders. 94% of C-suites identify with being I think 50% of the 94% identify with being an athlete. Um, and a lot of them were D1 actually at college. Also, we're better in STEM, usually, math and science, because what are sports? What's a tennis court? It's all math. Everything. I mean, I took geometry and I'm going, I don't know. And then I went out to have my instruction with Clyde Walker and I looked at the court. I go, this is math. Oh my gosh, this is sports is math. And you learn to keep score when you're young, and the numbers start to be fun, So it's really fun. And then it's the relationships that you make. If you listen to all these stories, every single one of them will have a relationship or relationships that are so important to them. And I think relationships are the most important thing in life with yourself, your loved ones, your friends, especially at school. Especially now, people need to connect better than ever because young people complain about being lonely, disconnected. And that's because they're with their phones all the time and they need to be with others and they need to interact. And I think it helps them in so many ways in life. So anyway, I could talk all day about this because
I know.
it works. I love
It
it.
does.
I mean, it's like I love tennis. I don't like tennis. So it's like it's so much fun. And I'm still playing because they've already done research on this too, that tennis is the healthiest sport in the world. So you add about 10 years to your life, 9.7 years. So I'm hitting.
Yes. Keep
And,
hitting.
and I'm like your grandparent to most of you listening today. So, and to all of you, I can't tell you how important you are. I always used the libraries our family did. We couldn't afford to buy books or anything, and we loved reading. And then we'd talk about the book among ourselves, and it allowed me to have the dream and dreams, really. Because I always thought if I hadn't been in sports, I would have gone to law school, gone into politics, and I used to read all the books of presidents. And of course, I was learning white history, which I didn't think was very good, but now I know it's been corrected in so many ways. But you guys have a tough job, but hang in there. And I hope you realize how important you are to us. I mean, I always went to the librarian. I always would go to, I need help. And I did. And I'd always ask their story. Why do you want to be a librarian? And of course, they always love to read and they're interested in everything. But I'm a history major. I'm actually graduating from college in May.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I quit because of I wanted to be the number one player in the world. And I had to go to Australia. I had to quit. And then I came back, and a few years ago, I started thinking, I like to shake hands at the net, which means you finished, right? I go, I haven't finished college. I need to finish. And so I started to inquire. and Marjorie Gantman, our managing director at our Billie Jean King Enterprises, started looking into it for me and said, "Billy, you've got 3 years, not two." I thought I had 2 years. I had three. So I'm graduating, but it's only because of people like you. I mean, I wouldn't be here without the library. My parents, we had our library card. Oh, it's so exciting when we got our library card. No, it was because we couldn't afford to buy books. And so we went to Bret Harte locally, and then we go to the main library where my name is now, which is so embarrassing actually, but it's wonderful. It was a great day. Mayor Garcia was great. He's now in Congress. But it's just, I don't know. Right now I'm reading, what am I reading? I'm reading like, oh, I know, Marjorie Gantman, the one I just talked to you about. It's just you've given everybody in the office the five dysfunction of a team again. I read it 20 years ago and I looked at it. I go, I read that. I'm reading it again. And then on my Kindle, I have Frederick Douglass. I mean, I got books. I love books.
It's amazing. And this book also is history for the young
It is
people to
history.
be reading. And
And
you
I
always
hope,
say,
right.
know your history.
Yeah, the more you know about history, the more you know about yourself, but more importantly, you can shape the future. That was the only reason I was able to lead in tennis because, by the way, the players chose me. Leaders do not choose followers, followers choose leaders or soldiers or the backbone really or the peeps, not the leader. So, and so, but leadership, it helped me to read when I was young, reading about the history of our country, always read about the history of our country. And there's so much leadership intertwined in those stories so
Yes.
it's amazing.
What's so fun is that you included, and then 3 or 4 of our athletes here all had
Oh,
books of other athletes that they were
right.
reading. You put Althea's book under your pillow so you could,
Oh, I
the
slept with that
wisdom.
book. I
Yeah.
slept with a lot of books actually. I don't know. I always have them near the bed anyway because I always like to read at night, or I do love to watch Law and Order. I'll confess. All of them, all of them. But I
But
think
it's a good story. That's why you watch it.
I hope that there's somebody in here for most of the young people that want to read this or any age group and read this. I
Right.
mean, I read Malala's young adult book. I didn't read I didn't read her adult book. I read her young adult book.
Right.
Things like that. Malala's a good friend. And what a story. And she's continuing. She now is investing in women's sports, she and her
I
husband.
know. See,
It's
it all
amazing.
ties together. So
She's
how did these athletes make
well,
our
look,
team?
I keep looking at
I
I think
know, isn't it? It's such a cool cover. We're so excited
well,
that
first of all, it's not easy, by the way, to get interviews sometimes. And Liz, you did a great job helping with that. And Liz, because she's written for the best, the New York Times, she, we talked a lot about doing this book.
did. We did.
And I think, of course, I'm partial to one of the stories because we helped Kendall coin Schofield.
Yeah.
She came to Ilana and me. She talked to Angela Ruggiero, who was a superstar in the '98 Olympics ice hockey. It was the first year they ever had ice hockey in the Olympics. And she said, we have to have a proper league. They had leagues. They're horrible. They don't treat them right. I said, who can I talk to? And Angela said, you should talk to Ilana and Billie Jean. So she called us. We're at a Lakers game. And we said, well, let's meet. So we met. And Kendall said, would you help us? We need to have a proper pro league. And of course, when someone says that to all of you listening, and we're all in this together today, it costs so much money, okay? It costs fortunes. And we said, we'll see what we can do. And we're fortunate enough to know Mark Walter and Kimber Walter, his wife. And he's the one that owns the Dodgers, the Lakers, not all of it, but most of it. And he has control of them, which is the important part. So it took about 6 years trying to convince and to talk about different ways we could do this. And the thing that Lana and I made sure is we got them to be an association, to be together. I said, I had a pep talk with them and I said, the top players have to stick together if you want to do this. And I'm talking about through thick and thin, not just the good times. It's going to get rough. And so they promised, and I could tell they had total conviction. And Kendall's story is in here. And it's so cute. If you see her skating at 3 years old, it's so adorable. Now she's got Drew, her boy, her son, who's about 2.5 now. And
Yeah.
she takes him on the ice. It's so cute. And her husband played professional football. So in the NFL, he was happened to be on a team that won the Super Bowl one year. So he's got a ring and everything. But it's so cute. But the reason I love looking at her name in the stories because I know what she put into it and how much
Right.
she's been a part of it. And they don't talk like that because they got to be together. But if she hadn't initiated, someone has to ask for what you want and need. And that's what girls are taught not to. And I think this book, with all the different stories, the one thing is they're able to ask for what they want and need it. And
Right.
everybody listening, this is really, really important for all of us because it's difficult for girls. We're not taught to ask for what we want and need. Boys are, and we are not. So I think through sports, you learn to not only accept responsibility, but you learn to ask, and you learn to ask your coach, you learn to ask your other player. You just start to have a much better sense of yourself as a human being, um, and how you can contribute to the world. And I don't know, it's just how you can contribute to your team. What we did in tennis is we got everybody,
Yep.
all the women to think like a team. Like you librarians, you are a team. I don't know if you realize it, but you are. And I know you help each other um, at times and whatever, but I think you really have to understand how valuable you are to all of us because it's reading is so important. It's just like they're not even teaching us to write anymore. No penmanship. It's like, are you kidding me? They've done research on that. When you write something down, you remember it better, you have better ownership of it. And here we're being taught not to do that. I'm like, do you know what it does for a person? So, and I know reading is tough now. I mean, how they're with AI coming in, and we don't know what's going to do to us. And no, the young people need to. There's nothing like holding a book either. I don't know what it is.
No.
I know it smells good. I like to look at the covers. I always look at who did the jackets because all these people contribute to a book. I mean, it's amazing. I always looked at the jackets and see who contributed, who took the photo, who did the cover, who did this. Ooh, ha, he. I love all that. And I think if we can get young adults to think more like that and to really know it's a piece of art when I pick up a
It
book,
is.
it's a piece of art.
It
It's right
is.
in my hands. And like, I just wish, but I think librarians tell the story. You have an opportunity to touch other people's lives for them to have a positive experience. You're probably going to be like a coach in some ways in that you will light a fire under somebody that never thought reading was, and then you talk to them just for a couple sentences even, or maybe you give them a book that they might be interested in. And of course, that's what I'm always big on asking someone what they like, what they're interested in. And I'm sure librarians have to do that a lot. And then
This
also
is the
what you can suggest to them to read.
So you are giving the best pep talk I've ever heard for
I'm a,
librarians. This is,
I'm a coach
but
at heart.
you are. But see, that's what this book does so well. We decided for each chapter to have one
Right.
of your signature phrases. So pressure is a privilege,
That's right. You
right?
did. I
Be a
love that.
problem solver. Relationships are everything. Ask for what you want and what you need. That
That's
actually
right.
is the title of a chapter.
Which
So
chapter is that? I forgot
that
now.
was the Kendall chapter.
Oh my God.
So
Of course it
exactly.
is. She asked us to help.
She asked. And
That's so
relationships are everything. So Midge Purse, she started the Black Women's Collective
right.
for the NWSL. And so she's always been a
She's
very
amazing.
incredible activist. Went to Harvard, she was on the board of the overseers. I know you really were very touched by the relationship with her dad and how parents really are the thread that keeps these
Well,
athletes going.
that's kind of because my dad was my life coach, really, I think, more than my mom as far as sports, because he was a jock and he loved basketball. We loved to play basketball first. There was nothing for women then. Are you kidding? There was no pro league. What am I going to watch? I watched the men. Um, Tennis was one of the few things that women could play back in those old days. But no, I think it shows the family. And also, some kids don't have that luxury. And that's where this
Oh,
book, I think, gets so important. You know, a lot of kids don't have someone taking care of them. They're barely are making it. So when they get inspired by these things are inspirational stories that they don't give up. And some are it's not an easy road ever. And it teaches you about resilience. It teaches you to believe in yourself. It's okay to lose. It's what you do with it. It's okay to win. What do you do with winning? Because I ask players when I coach, I go, why did you win? You should see them. It's hilarious. They look at me like, huh? Because they thought I was going to ask, what did you do wrong, right? No, I
right.
go, why did you win? You have to know why you win. And all of you out there listening, what are your strengths? Don't keep harping on what you're not good at. What is your, just name one strength or two strengths, but champions practice their strength every single day. And I hope that all of you appreciate yourselves and think about your strengths. Um, yes, we try to make our weaknesses adequate, but it's your strength is what makes you great. And I think
Yes.
you need to concentrate. And that's what these do in the book. I mean, this it's as I read each of these chapters, I just got so excited because
I know.
it's like who is this? Mia Hamm.
Remember Deanna Flores. You and I
Oh, I
talked
met
so
her.
much about Deanna. Right. What did you see in her
Well,
from the
first
very
of all,
beginning?
I met her doing a commercial for
The NFL Super
the
Bowl.
NFL at the Super Bowl 4 or 5 years ago now. We did a Title IX anniversary, and they had me do the coin toss. But it was meeting Diana Flores is what made it my day, because
Flag football player from
she's
Mexico.
5'2.5", I think.
Yep.
They did a 90-second. It wasn't really a commercial, it was an infomercial, really. And they have her running, jumping, going over everything. I mean, she's amazing. So I got out of the car. I did a oops thing. She's coming by and I go, oops. And I did a cameo. It was great. But she was so impressive. And she's Mexican, and her team had just won the world championships, the Mexicans. And can you imagine okay, just imagine she's a quarterback. I'm like, she's 5'2" and a quarter. How could she be a quarterback? I'm thinking, huh? So anyway, flag football, since then, that's 4 years ago, will now be in the Olympics in 28. We're going to start a pro league. Ilana and I have invested with how can you not invest with the National Football League? Give me a break. Um, so they're going to have
It's
women's and men's, and they're going to start in 27. There'll be pro leagues, and it's going to give so many opportunities. Another thing is there's no concussions involved as much as
right,
in regular football. So
right.
for the men, for the boys, it's going to be huge as well. What's happening across the country is to be able to have a proper like identified sport. In college, you have to have a lot of colleges, high schools playing the
Yes.
sport, whatever it is. And now it's just mushroom booming. They're going to have plenty of players now to have high school now. So it's going to change the landscape a lot, because I used to play flag and my mother wouldn't let me play anymore because I wasn't. She said you have to be like a lady all the time. And I go, Mommy, what's a lady like? She goes, you know. I go, no, I don't. And she couldn't answer me. It was so cute. Because she was thinking that's stupid. I shouldn't tell her to say that to her. You could just see you can see my mom's brain working a mile a minute. Um, but I think there's nothing like stories, though, to exchange with each other. Every one of you has your story to tell. Every one of you, every
Yep.
single person. And you never know how you're going to touch another person's life. You just don't. And I'm hoping this book, when people read about one of these athletes, because they're different sports, they're different colors, they're different ages, they're different. I mean, there's kind of something for everyone in here. And you might have a favorite person. Caitlin Clark's a big deal. We have her in here. I've talked to her a few times. She's a great kid, but her dad helped her a lot. He's like her coach. And because he liked golf, she plays golf. So I go, oh, boo, you didn't play tennis. And I give her a bad time. But it's,
But she didn't play tennis. We have that great detail
oh, I know. It's
because
in the book. If you read it, why? I'm angry. I'd love to find the coach wherever I think it's a he or she is because they blew it. That's why
yeah,
you got to be
she-
careful when you teach or if you're a librarian like you are, because you're helping others, you're teaching others. Um, what makes a great coach? A great teacher.
exactly. And he was not making it challenging for Caitlin.
No, he didn't
Yeah,
have her hit balls enough. I mean,
I know, I know.
and
So
I'm like,
so many fun details.
I read the story and I go, are you kidding me? No wonder.
I
No
know.
wonder she didn't play. I wouldn't have played either. So anyway, and I don't know who the coach was, but I'd sure love to find him.
Okay. Well, I mean, as you can hear, there are so many great details in this book, and I do think it would be wonderful for book clubs, for YA book clubs. Also, I have to add, I am the daughter of a librarian, so I have loved the shout
Yes.
outs to librarians today. But we have time, I think, just for one question, maybe two, depending on how quickly we can answer. But um, here's one that I think we have here that will only take a half an hour or 1 minute, depending on how you do it. What do you see for women's sports in the next 5 years?
Okay, we're just beginning. The WNBA their CBA, they got a contract. It's just so much better. Uh, People all over the world are trying to buy up women's football teams, start doing leagues, treat them differently. The PWHL that we just got started is in its third season and we had sellout crowds. So all these things are improving. So we're about 3 billion now. So we'll have a lot more billion in 5 years, that's for sure. But it's thanks to the public. They're supporting it and they're showing up, men and women, every kind of person in the world showing up, every color, every religion. I'm telling you, I can't. We sold out we meaning PWHL, this ice
Yeah.
hockey, sold out the Madison Square Garden the very next night. The Boston Garden was sold out for ice hockey. I'm telling you, and all women's sports are gaining more and more people, and uh, because it's good for you. It teaches you to fight. It teaches you to but it's the relationships. It's the other people that you'll be on their team or in your sport. Or it's just so much and social. It's just so healthy. I want to thank Calkins Creek too because they believed in our book to publish it.
Did.
And if they hadn't, as you all know, as librarians, you know better than anybody. You may think you have the greatest book in the world, but nobody will help you with it. So I'm really indebted to them. They've done a beautiful job in the artwork, and I'm telling you, when you see it, you're not going to. It's beautiful. It's stunning. The artwork, everything, and the stories are just the best. I've read it. I mean, we worked hard on every single chapter, so
We
every
did.
single story. And thank you, Liz. Without your wonderful writing and abilities and persistence, because it's not that easy to get interviews, you guys. Whoo, they're busy, and you've got agents you have to deal with. You've got all kinds of people you have to get through to get these to happen. You hope they'll do it for you, but there's no guarantees, man. It's
No.
so I take my hat off to you because you are persistent. I love it.
Well, I learned from the best, and I wouldn't be here were it not for you. I wouldn't have been an athlete. And I think all of us here we are indebted to you because you are still teaching. You are still going.
I love
And
it.
and this is the record of what you care about because it's history, but it's also the future. So
It,
I
it
just want
is.
to thank you.
Wait till you read their stories if you haven't. You're gonna love them. They're fantastic.
Terrific.
Thank
Well,
you so
thank
much,
you.
everyone.
Thank
I'm
you,
sorry.
everybody, for such a fun conversation.
Thank you so much, Liz. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Liz and Billie Jean. That was such a wonderful and inspiring conversation. A reminder to all of today's attendees, you will receive a recording of today's event tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us, and a big thank you to our sponsor, Calkins Creek, an imprint of Astra Book for Young Readers. This concludes today's webinar. See you next time.